Say hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. Along with me is my guy Ian Cameron, aka Bobano. Bobano, love the shirt, love the vibes. This is a good little summer show we've got going on here.
Well, it is because you got summer weather here, hot as fuck, and had a little swim earlier, actually right before the show, and feel
Love it.
refreshed, and I feel ready now to talk MLB. I feel like I'm in a good spot right now.
This is great. I love it. I love it. Maybe we should do this before all shows. We should just mandate everyone on Pub Sports Radio. Go to the pool, relax for an hour before the show, Love that. First of all, I have a real quick question. What is hot as fuck in Canada for you, Ian? Because it was 103 today, and I was just wondering.
Well, that's not the kind of temperatures we're getting here, but we're still getting into the 90s. It's pretty humid, and we got the humidity as well to go with it. So, San Antonio more of a dry heat, and I know and I can say that firsthand experience from back in March. Yeah, even then it wasn't hundreds heat, but it was in the 90s, but it was dry heat, and I'm sure that's what it is now in the hundreds. But when you get the heat here in the summertime, most of the time it's humidity. And that's when it's harder to breathe, and it just drags you down, and it's just absolutely brutal. So definitely a situation where, it's very hot. It's been hot here for a couple of weeks straight, lots of humidity, stagnant air, and you got to find ways to cool off, and the swim will do that. So I feel refreshed. And by the way, if you're ever feeling, and if you got the opportunity, it's unbelievable how just taking a quick swim in a pool, whether it's 10 minutes or over an hour, makes you feel so much better. It's refreshing.
It truly is, and I love it. This is why we're gonna get an on fire Bobano today. And speaking of on fire, I am officially on fire, Ian.
I know that's a phenomenal baseball season. I mean, I've got peanuts of profit compared to you. I've got plus 3 units. You put almost a 0 on top of that.
Yeah, I am almost at 30 units, officially the high watermark of the season right now. I've touched 30 units in a day, but not finished at it. But this officially is the high watermark, 29.41 units on the day. 3-1, I should say. Yesterday, little Nationals first 5 full game. Ian, and if I saw you yesterday, I would have kissed you right on the cheek for giving me the inspiration to go first 5 full game. National score, I think it was 4 in the top of the 5th. Win the full game. We love it. Baltimore team total also hit. Thank you, Corey Kluber, for blowing up there a little bit. Appreciate it. Royals.
Corey Kluber's bet against material, in my opinion, in the second half. I think he's wearing down. I think you're starting to see signs of that.
I agree. Absolutely agree. And then I had a loss with the Cleveland money line, but I'm going to continue fading the Red Sox. A little scarier today, but I'm going to continue to do it. It's going to be fun for sure. This is going to be a good card, Ian, and it's going to be a good show. We're rounding off into form here. We're hitting a stride. It's almost August. It feels like, I'll be honest, Ian, when August comes around, that's when I get the willies. I start getting excited for October baseball's coming. And then when my birthday comes, it's just September 4th. That's when officially I'm like, October is almost here. I'm ready. Obviously, the Red Sox aren't going to be there this year, but that will allow me to be more focused on all the capping and all of it, and I'm going to be very excited for the rest of the season. I'll say this, Ian. Are you ready for this show, this 108th straight show in the world?
Of course I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Let's freaking go. Say Hey Plays 108. Say Hey Plays 108 officially underway here. Now, I say this is going to be an interesting show here, Ian, because we've got some weather reports from some individuals that have submitted some videos. One you guys have seen already on Betting with the Bag. Another one submitted to me after, and I'm very excited to show it because it's a little debut as well. So it'll be all fun. It's going to be a good show here. I've got one official play. We'll talk about it when we get there. But a full card. I think it's a tough card, too. 14 games. I think it's a tough card. So let's talk about it one by one here, starting with Miami and the Reds here. My close personal former friend. It hurts me to say Pablo Lopez, a former friend of mine now. And I'll say, Ian, the analytics are there. We've got a large enough sample size to say that when Pablo Lopez was messaging me back last year, he was a dominant pitcher. Now, not so much. Truly, it happened after that little wrist injury. Since then, he just has not really been the same. He's not been that dominant guy every start. And at this price, truthfully, I would love to back him here, but I just don't have enough faith to get there yet. Hunter Green, obviously, we know what he's about. Fastball, slider, and if you can throw the changeup for a strike, you're in trouble. 13th on the Marlins, 101 weighted runs created plus this year against righties, but their offense has been putrid as of late. We'll get a couple more days when we'll start using the last 2 week sample sizes here. But these are full year, I guess first half sample sizes, I should say. And while the Reds are 26, 88 weighted runs created plus, even 8.5 doesn't make me want to bet the under here. So I initially had a pass here, but I'm leaning towards the Marlins.
I'm leaning toward the over. In fact, I bet the over here, 8.5 in this game with Marlins and Reds. That's dirt cheap for a game at Great American. That's the way I see it. I mean, 8.5 seems very low, and it pains me to do it because I like Hunter Green, but I'm sick of saying I like Hunter Green and seeing the guy get lit up. I'm sick of it. I'm at the point now where show me that you can put a quality start together before I believe in the hype, before I believe in the long-term ceiling and potential that you have in this starting rotation. And I'm at the point now where it's just not enough consistency. Last start against St. Louis, another struggle for Hunter Green. 4 runs, 5 hits, 5 innings. He has a 7.11 ERA in his last 5 starts, Hunter Green. It's not going to get the job done right now with the way he's pitching. Now, he is facing, you mentioned it, a lineup that had really for the better part of the last week or two has been terrible. Now, they have had these couple outbursts the last couple games in Pittsburgh, in particular, where they scored 8 against Zach Thompson. They scored 5 against Mitch, a.k.a. Helen Keller, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then yesterday they get shut down by Nick Lodolo in the Reds bullpen, which is pretty difficult to do because Lodolo's had his ups and downs as well. So I think the Marlins can scratch across a couple of runs. I mean, I definitely think Cincinnati's probably going to do more of the scoring in this game against Lopez. I mean, Lopez is on the road. I don't trust him nearly as much. He's had problems, obviously, as of late in terms of the home run balls at times been a little bit problematic for him. He's given up 4 home runs rather in the last 4 starts. He's given up a home run in 7 of the last 10 starts, which isn't very good. That's not good when you're pitching in Cincinnati either. So you're talking about a Miami bullpen that's kind of it was going good for a while, but it's regressed. And we know the Cincinnati bullpen's not very good, so you've got potential for runs late in the game. So I'm going to go with over 8.5. You might get more of the runs later. I mean, if you're interested in first 5 under, I could see it. I think it could be one of those games where the first 5 stays under and the full game goes over. But at 8.5, to me, with 2 pitchers I've got more questions than answers regarding, I found the 8.5 looked a little bit low.
You know what? I think you're right. Truthfully, that whole breakdown has. I said 8.5 was too low to take the under. Then I should be on the over, right? That makes a whole lot of sense. I'll write down that over to start this off, and that's why we have you on the show, Ian. That's why we have you on the show. Those lovely soliloquies. It makes a whole lot of sense. Not trusting really either of these pitchers to go off here. And the 8.5 is low, especially at fucking Great American Ballpark, and we know what that park is for hitters.
I've been doing shows for 10 years. I've mastered the art of basically giving a great case behind every bet. So, but at the end of the day, you still need it to win. You still need it to cash. And that's the part you always have to hold your breath about.
You're right about that. And I feel the same way. Let's give a shout out to the chat real quick before we move on. I wanted to talk about that first game. We could officially get in there and get into the show. By the way, J. Rowe from giving us a little weather report for the Red Sox game. We'll talk about that game later. We'll bring up that comment here. Shout out to Brian Watson, Sam Colmer, AJ 1337, the minus 300 fades, his seeds again. I hope you guys are on it, guys. I really hope you guys at least, take a tab in and take a little, maybe a run line plus 1.5, whatever. You just, join me on this expedition. And like I said, I've been trying to be a little more picky, choosy about it. And luckily, that was good for me yesterday because I think Gonsolin's going to be an interesting second half candidate right here. Control Your Vexel. What's up, my man? Rocco Rogers in here as well. Mark in here. Thank you, Mark, for joining us. Stellar Girl, you're right about the temperatures. He would have told me in Celsius, and I would have not remembered or not known how to do that. Cannot do that kind of math, especially on the show. Kyle Hintley in joining us. Shout out to Puzzler. Hope you're feeling better and hope you get better soon, my man, Puzzler. You're a true pillar of this chat, so I hope you feel better soon, my man. Banana Boat, Float, Saturated, Jay Peasy, and Mark asking a good question about the Pub Sports Radio football show or NFL, college. I'm not too sure, honestly. I'm actually kept in the dark about that stuff, and once that's figured out,
I'm still wondering what we're now. Last year we did NFL Pub Hub on Sundays. Jimmy hosted that. He had an array of guests. My guess is we're probably going to keep that. I don't know, but it was pretty popular. I think everybody liked it. He just rotated guests throughout the show, and then of course we had me, Connor, and Big Ragu and DJ Big Boss doing the college show on Saturday mornings right before the games. That's what we did last year, but to be announced in terms of whether we're doing the same thing this year.
So exactly. Once I know, you guys will probably know as well, truth be told. So I do not know exactly yet. So thank you.
Same Mark, with hitting the books. We did Connor and I hitting the books on Mondays. We'll see if that comes back as well.
Same thing with Tuesday and Jimmy as well. So let's move on. I'm gonna keep shouting you guys out. Fireside, all you guys as well. Thank you guys. Pablo Lopez of the Palingers, Woo Rizza overtime in here as well. I know the over in Marlins games is kind of tough because they've scored like 6 runs in the last 2 weeks combined. But it's a low total. It's a low total. So we'll see here. Let's move on to this next game here. Braves Phillies in an interesting matchup. The Phillies get the win yesterday, and I bet Bryson Stott to win NL Rookie of the Year at plus I think, let me look at my board here, plus 900. Obviously that's not going to cash, but he had his moment yesterday and made me feel a little better about it. Obviously, we've obviously got a good pitching matchup today with Nola Strider. What can we say about Aaron Nola this year? His record, well, I'll keep saying it because these good pitchers sometimes they have these wacky records, but it doesn't reflect how good he is. 6-7, a 3.13 ERA. His last start was against the Miami Marlins, dominated them like we just mentioned. They can be offensively challenged. 8 1/3, 4 hits, no earned runs, 10 Ks, 1 walk. On the season so far, though, home ERA a lot higher than the away ERA, which is an interesting thing with Aaron Nola. 4.15 ERA at home in 56 1/3 innings pitched, a 2.3 on the road. So, do I really want to back him here? No. That plus money does look appealing, truthfully, but I can't get behind it, especially by the actual probably Rookie of the Year, Spencer Strider, which is, it's shocking that I didn't. Spencer Strider and Joe Ryan were my 2 early crushes this year, and I bet on Joe Ryan and AL Rookie of the Year, and I didn't bet on Spencer Strider. I don't know what's gone into me there, but he's a beast. I love him. He had a rocky start last time against the Nationals. 4 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 Ks, 2 walks, and a home run. But I think he bounces back. So ultimately, I had to pass on this game. I think it is going to be a very good game to watch, a tough game to bet on. My only thing would be a lean towards the over 7.5 here as well, with Nola's ERA being what it is at home. Their bullpen being, it's been good, but I still don't fully trust it. And the Braves bats has just been phenomenal. So ultimately a pass with a lean to the over right now.
I'm probably going to end up moving on the over at this point because it's 7.5 at plus money. And I've been riding Atlanta's overs lately, including last night in the game with the Braves and the Phillies. Went over the total 6-4 final score. That's now 7 straight to the over for Atlanta. And when I see teams that are on this kind of run to the over, I ride the streak or I don't bet it. Now, I've said that a million times. So 7-0 to the over for Atlanta coming into this game. It's over or pass. A priorium, it is over or pass for me in this game. There's no way I would want the under. The one thing that is giving me pause is Nola, a pretty good pitcher, although he hasn't been as good at home. Usually we think of him lights out at Citizens Bank. Hasn't been that way. North of 4 ERA this year for Aaron Nola at home. I do like Spencer Strider. Is coming off probably one of his worst outings last time. He just couldn't get into any sort of rhythm against Washington. 5 runs, 4 hits, 4 innings of work in that start against the Nationals. We'll see how he fares here. This will be his first start after the break. Hasn't pitched, obviously, since the All-Star break. We'll see if he can get back into a groove. I would only look over, though. I mean, it's 7.5. Atlanta's trending that way, and I do like the Atlanta side as well. Now that they're betting Philly, quite a bit. This opened minus 135. You can get Atlanta now as low as about minus 116 or so. I got to look at
Wow.
Atlanta. They're still the better of these two teams. It's not like Nola is that much better than Spencer Strider. Obviously, Atlanta's bullpen gave it up last night, but it's still an Atlanta bullpen that, for the most part, this year has been very good. Philly's bullpen's been better lately. Don't get me wrong, but I think now that the price has come down to $1.16, it's hard to not take that. So I do like Atlanta now as a short road favorite.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's look at a minus 125 at minus like 115. I'd definitely take it there. Obviously you don't love taking a road favorite, but still, I like that look. I like the overlook at plus money, plus 105 from me. I've written that one down as well. We'll see what we make official at the end of the show here. By the way, Coin, good stat here. Phillies 2-0 versus Atlanta this year,
Yep.
with Nola on the bump. So that's a good stat, small sample size, but I don't hate it at all. By the way, Mark, giving a pretty good look here. Strider's second half regression. He was a reliever by trade, sort of like Nestor. I tried to get on the Nestor second half fade. The first start, he pitched really well against the Orioles. I still think he'll be a second half fade, just like how I thought Tony Gonsolin will be a second half fade. And I'll keep my eye on that, Mark. I think you're right. That's kind of like the juice that I'm looking for. A pitcher that has potentially not pitched this long before. He's already hit or exceeded or is going to exceed his innings career high. It's like sometime in the near future. Those guys will be interesting for me. And maybe, for the case of Tony Gonsolin, I don't have his, or I can probably pull up while I'm talking, but I just don't think he was as good as the first half says he is. I mean, 11-0 is 11-0, but is he truly going to be the ace? I don't know. And he does, in fact, fall into this category as well, guys. So his max innings pitched in any organization with the Dodgers was 83 and a third, and he is at 99 innings pitched right now. So that stuff is important. I forgot who told us about that. I think it was Dami, actually. I believe it was Dami Gunn that said keep an eye on that stuff. So shout out to Dami. Those veteran baseball cappers giving us the knowledge right there. All right.
Now, I definitely want Robbie Thompson to succeed, the interim manager for the Phillies, because he's Canadian. He's from Sarnia, Ontario. Definitely want to see, the Phillies do well. And he's actually done a pretty solid job. You can't argue with the way they played immediately after Joe Girardi got fired. So I'm open for good things for him, and, tough situation, and, pretty solid that he's actually kept them afloat.
All right. Beautiful. Let's keep it moving on here. We've got Braves, Rays, Orioles here, and this line has already jumped up a little more, minus 200 for the I keep saying Brave, for the Rays here. Shane McClanahan, he had a rocky start in the All-Star game, but whatever, that's what it is. I took a little more stock into it with Tony Gonsolin. Maybe that's because I wanted to make a point on my side. I don't know, but whatever. I'm not going to take too much into it, I guess. Maybe I was a little nervous, obviously. He was a starter. So, there's that into it. But I can't really move on this game, truthfully. Minus 200 for the Rays. The Orioles against lefties are 23rd, 91 weighted runs created plus in the first half. So I can't really back that. I say I can't. I don't really want to back that, I should say, because I've done it before with these minus 200 fades. Spencer Watkins has been good. How long is he going to continue to be good? I'm not sure. I'm not going to pay to find out. So ultimately, this is a pass. If I had gun to head and I'm looking at the over or under here, I suppose I'm looking under, because I think maybe the Orioles won't participate in this over under, and Rays scoring 8 runs of their own might be a little far fetched. I don't know, but ultimately another pass game for me. This card's tough, and I'll keep passing on the games that I don't like, guys, because like we say on this program, we are not trying to give away picks for shits and giggles. We're trying to make money here. So pass the games you don't like, and that's what we're doing here.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a pass for me, because the value's on Baltimore, but I'll be damned if I'm going against Shane McClanahan. I mean, he's been absolutely outstanding. He's been lights out. He's obviously up for AL Cy Young consideration this year, 1.71 ERA overall, 1.5 ERA on the road, dominated the Baltimore Orioles as well, 5-0 the Rays, and McClanahan's 5 starts in his career against Baltimore. So undefeated the Rays are when McClanahan pitches against this Baltimore team. Watkins hasn't been that bad at all, actually. 3 starts in the month of July, 1 run allowed in each start, Minnesota, Texas, Cubs. So you can quibble about the quality of lineup, but it's not like Tampa Bay's lineup is crushing it. They've got some injuries to deal with. Although slowly, I guess you could say, starting to get a little bit healthier. When you see it, Brandon Lau is at least back now, but Yandy Diaz capable. Randy Arozarena has been up and down. This guy Isaac Paredes for them has really kept them alive for the Tampa Bay Rays. And during the times when they had a lot of players out of the lineup, he was the guy that was really carrying them in this lineup. So I give him a lot of credit. But Tampa off the loss last night. They've got their stopper. They've got their ace on the mound. He's been lights out. He's dominated Baltimore. Can't go against that. But the value does seem to be on Baltimore. I mean, this is a huge price to be giving them. And I'd be on it on pretty much every other pitcher except this guy. So it's a pass for me as well.
Well, beautiful. We'll use this time to mention Damon Santore's comment here real quick. Does every baseball fan feel like they grew up in the best era of baseball? Because no arms come close to be Randy or Pedro. Well, I'll say Pedro is the best pitcher of all time. I didn't see Pedro pitch, obviously, because I was a wee lad and don't remember that stuff. But no, I think the steroid era and all that stuff was probably the best era of baseball. I mean, this is not close. Ian, do you have any thoughts? Oh, you're muted over there.
Sorry about that. What was that? What were you asking?
Did you do you have do baseball fans think that they grew up with the best era of baseball? Is kind of what Damon's saying here. I assume many.
I don't know about baseball because there's some really great players today that I really am impressed with. I'm impressed with what Shohei Ohtani's doing, obviously pitching and hitting at an elite level. That's very difficult to do. And I love players from obviously the 2000s and the 90s and even the late 80s. I still remember Dave Stieb for the Blue Jays back in the 80s. Some people would say, who, huh, what? But yeah, there's some great pitchers back in the day. Goose Gossage. I mean, you go on down the list, the Big Red Machine, the Reds in the 70s. I mean, I'm a historian when it comes to baseball. If I don't watch these games, I can't because I'm not even born yet, but I look back and I see who was good, who made their imprint on the game, on the sport. And that matters to me. But no, there's great players right now. I think, I appreciate the players of this era right now, current era as well, just as much as the older ones. The only difference for me is when it comes to rap and hip hop. There's no way I respect today's era of rap and hip hop compared to the 90s. There's no way. That's not possible. It's not as good. I don't care what anybody says. I don't give a crap about what anyone says about today's hip hop. It's not even close to what I heard in the 80s, in the 90s, and in the early 2000s. That's the difference. Baseball, I respect and appreciate and love players from 20 years ago just as much as today's players. I cannot say that about the rap artist industry. Cannot say that.
I'll be honest. I did not expect the rap industry to come out of your mouth, man. That was not what I was expecting. But, I sometimes forget that Bobano's got bars.
You know why it's on my mind? I had basically a classic hip hop playlist going when I was swimming. So there you go.
What were we listening to?
Basically, we had Nas, we had AZ, we had KRS-One. We had Dre and Eminem, Guilty Conscience, which is a classic song with great lyrics, great story right in the song. Like, does anybody in rap today have a story behind their music? Is it just mumble rap and we can't understand a word you're saying and you have no story, you have no theme, you have nothing to go on? Or do you have something, of semblance, something of substance to say in your rap? I mean, that's another thing that's a big difference.
Do you have who is the most recent rap artist that you actually enjoy? Just out of curiosity.
Most recent.
Yes.
I will say Run the Jewels I liked, and they're pretty recent. Run the Jewels with Killer Mike was in that entourage, and their stuff was pretty good. And they just have been around the last decade. Now Killer Mike's going back to the late 90s, early 2000s too, but that Run the Jewels group was pretty good. J. Cole's not bad. Kendrick Lamar's not bad. I'll give them that. Some of the ones that have been around the last 5 to 10 years. Yeah. Not Meg the Stallion. No.
Oh, man.
Although I have heard that stupid song or the one song, the body yada 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 yada.
That's a banger. Come on, Ian. I know you like that song. I can see you on the dance floor dancing that song, Ian. I did not think the rap. I did not think that we'd be talking rap today on the show, and I'll say that you are by far the more knowledgeable one on that one. So I defer to you and your knowledge there, Ian. And I love the little tangents we get to on the show. No. So I appreciate.
I love talking it. Yep.
There we go. So
there we go. DJ Easy Rock, Rakim. There you go. You got some classics now. That
oh my goodness!
Back to the good old days. Yep.
I love it. I love it. There you go. Next time
I'm
you see
already at that
Bobano,
age. Back in my day. Yeah.
but next time you guys see Bobano everywhere, just throw some rap on there. Let him spit some bars to you. Let him talk some rap game to you. I love it. I love it. Palante versus Barrios, our next game. This is kind of, not a marquee matchup, but the one of the matchups getting a lot of pub because Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt both unvaccinated, not going to be in Toronto here. Just the funniest. The post game or the quotes about the vaccination things always just make me laugh every single time. And Nolan Arenado's was probably the funniest one I've seen this to date. So that was great. Shout out to Nolan, I guess. But they're out without their two best hitters today. Palante, not an inspiring arm. Barrios, a lot better at home. It seems like a Blue Jay spot. My only trepidation would be that I think that mentally teams get up for that first game without their guys. Example, the Royals, they won the first game, I believe it was, without all their dudes. Obviously, that Blue Jay squad back then was a little more beleaguered, worn down, colder bats, etc. But I do think there is something to the case that a team goes in there, have that galvanizing, let's do this without them for that first game, and then that next game they're like, oh, okay, well we did it the first night or whatever. So if I had to pick a side, obviously it's easy to pick the minus 230 Blue Jays. Maybe you could take a run line minus 1.5 to get the juice down, obviously a little bit, and definitely don't hate that. It's at minus 120 for me, so it's just a little too juice for me. I obviously think the Blue Jays, Ian, I think you've heard me say this, but I think the Blue Jays are going to go to the ALCS. They're my second best team in the American League. I think it's Astros, Blue Jays, Mets, Braves. It's going to be a fun second half of this Blue Jays squad. I'll tell you that. Just please, for the love of God, whoever's running that Blue Jays team, just add some bullpen arms. I don't care who, just add them, please.
Yep.
I don't know.
Wouldn't mind seeing them add a starter too. Anything pitching, starter, bullpen. I wouldn't mind seeing, because I don't know if Ross Stripling is going to hold up for the full season. Now they've gotten more than I ever thought they would out of him so far. But is he going to be able to keep pitching this way till the end of September and into the postseason if he were to make the starting rotation? I don't know. But no, they've gotten good stuff out of it. Gossman's been good, without a doubt. Manoah's been just incredible all season long, and really turning into not just a great pitcher, but some kind of personality as well. So it's just. Yeah,
he's a big dickhead bully, and I did not
I know
appreciate
because of the whole Boston thing.
I did not appreciate that.
It was a friggin' hot day. Give him a break. I mean, he's
what an asshole he is. What an asshole. I bet on the Blue Jays every game in that series, and I was just so angry at Manoah. I was like, "Why are you kicking us while we're down? He's just spitting on us."
No, he was. No, he's an intense son of a gun. And that's what you. And even John Schneider, the manager for the Jays, since he took over from Charlie, sat him down after and said, "You know what? We love your passion. We love your enthusiasm. We love your competitiveness and all that. But you don't need to, you don't need to show up poor Bobby Dahlbeck, who strikes out every day pretty much, and make it seem like you just did something special. So I get it. Cool him down a little bit. I love the competitive juices, but at the end of the day, you do want to cool it a little bit with some of the stuff. But he's certainly charismatic. You can't deny that.
Yeah, everyone loves him besides his AL East opponents. I'll tell you that. I think it's funny. The Red Sox and the Blue Jays would be perfect trade candidates right now. How about you take Nathan Eovaldi? We've got some 1-year reliever arms. What about Michael Wacha? But yeah, no, it's not going to happen because we're in division. So sucks to suck. I hope you guys get. Actually, I hope you guys don't get anyone, truthfully. But I hope it's a bullpen arms. I don't want you guys to get any starters. I don't want Frankie Montas.
I mean, all this ridiculous chatter about the Juan Soto to the Blue Jays. Stop with that, please. Do you really think they need another hitter? They need another bat?
That would be hilarious, though.
Pitching. Yeah, they need pitching. That's what they should be focused on. But anyway, getting back to this game, I am on the Jays again. I know Jimmy came out of the All-Star break saying you got to ride the Jays. I kind of thought the same thing, and I took Toronto in every game against Boston. You could say they swept Boston, division rival. Now they're playing an NL team letdown, but I don't think so. I think this team's going to go on a big-time run, and I think this could be the start of a 8, 9 game, 10 game win streak, kind of like a Baltimore type streak or Seattle type streak that they just recently had. And the schedule fits for them to go on that kind of streak. They've got a lot of easier series coming up. the Jays. So they've got an opportunity here in front of them. You mentioned it. Goldschmidt and Arenado aren't in for the Cardinals. I don't love Palante and the stuff I've seen from him. Barrios has been a lot better at home. The Jays are mashing right now. And you mentioned that bullpen. That bullpen's got a day off because they didn't play yesterday. And that bullpen actually pitched pretty well. Jordan Romano's been good, the closer. Tim Mays has been solid. Adam Simber, the sidewinder, has been absolutely phenomenal.
My favorite reliever in your bullpen.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Simber's just been terrific. What a job. They got him for nothing. They sent Joe Panic to Miami, and they got Adam Simber in return. Talk about a steal. I mean, Atkins has screwed up in a few areas, but that was one he got right. And what a great move it was there. I'm on Toronto first 5, minus $1.40 in the minus a half in the first 5 innings, and also the run line as well with the Jays. I think they're going to win decisively. And I think the intangibles mean something here because the beloved Buck Martinez is back in the Blue Jays broadcast booth tonight. He went through cancer treatment. He was declared cancer-free, got to ring the bell and all that. And I think the Jays players know that it's a big night. Buck Martinez is back in Toronto, back in the broadcast booth. He'll be working with Dan Shulman tonight on the game. And I think there's another little incentive that, hey, it's Buck's big night. He's back after going through cancer treatment. Let's win this game tonight here against St. Louis. So I like the Jays.
Okay. Well, you should have let off with the cancer treatments and the returning of an announcer. That's all you need to say to sell me on a point. I love the intangible shit. I love it. I love it. I love it. So you know what? I'm officially going to move on. Toronto minus 1.5, minus 120. Shout out to Alex Pavone, Pavy, who comes on this show semi-frequently, and he was texting me about the Blue Jays as well today, and I was like, I don't know. But I like that look. I like it a lot more now. I think they win, and I mean, I've been right there with you guys too. I think that this is a Blue Jay squad that's going to roll in the second half, and I think they're going to go to ALCS. So I'm right there with you. Shout out to Flush Allen for joining us right on time for the Subway Series. I'll be honest, I fucking can't stand this series. It's truly the most annoying series every time I see it because it's just so many Mets, Yankees lineups. I truly don't like either of these teams. I know the Mets are kind of like the Red Sox little cousins, but I don't know. I don't love the highlights. It just annoys me. But first, Ian, this might be a little out of date because it was this morning, but we need our weather reports. So let's throw it over to one of our lovely, lovely weather women. Hit it, Dami.
This is the Low Shack in the Bag. New York City weather for the Subway Series tonight, July 26th. New York Yankees versus New York Mets. We have a beautiful day today in New York. Mid-80s, slight wind blowing at game time from center field to right at about 9 miles per hour, tapering off to around 5 miles per hour during game time. Beautiful day for a game. Prediction for tonight's game, New York Mets team total over 3.5 minus 125 and over 8 for the full game minus 104. This is Dominic Gonarici for Pub Sports Radio, Low Shack in the Bag, boots on the ground, weather reports for New York City.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes, exactly. We need
That's quality. Move over local for weather or whoever the fuck does it in New York City. Hire Dom.
Yes, Dom's a great weatherman. Yes, he even got the birds in it. It's very
birds
animated,
chirping.
It's great. I love it.
I like his play too.
Exactly. I do too. And I think I'm going to move on it officially. I mean, it's only right that I move on it officially. Dommy Gunn sends the weather in. I'm going to move on the team total over 3.5 for the New York Metropolitans. It's at minus 120 for me. Obviously a little juice, and you guys know that I do not love the fucking minus 120s, and it seems like I might have 2 or 3 of them on my card today, which is never a good sign for me, truthfully. But I like this look. I think the Mets could win outright today. Pretty surprised to see this not a pick 'em, truthfully. I think Taijuan Walker is a better pitcher than Jordan Montgomery, and I think the Yankees bullpen is a little overrated now. Lost one of their big arms. Aroldis Chapman.
Yep.
Yeah. And I haven't seen that injury. I didn't even get to see it. Did he fall or was it just him throwing? Because that's the worst. If it's a throwing thing and you fracture your elbow, I can't even imagine. That's so painful. But the bullpen has questions. And I think that Mets can win this game. I think the Mets are the better squad. And that's why I have them in my top 4 and not at the Yankees. I think the Yankees are not when playoff time comes around, and I'll sound like a biased asshole every time I say it, but playoff time comes around, I do not think this Yankees team will have it, and it'll be fun to watch as always. But give me the Mets here. Team total over 3.5 minus 120. And if I had to pick a side, it'd be Mets.
Yeah, look, Taijuan Walker, there's a bet against pitcher for me coming into the season, and he's held up. He's actually done pretty well. But how's he going to handle the Yankees is a question. No Stanton, though. No Giancarlo Stanton tonight in the lineup for the Yankees, so you take a pretty big bat out. But the biggest bat is still in, and that's Aaron Judge, who's obviously been just insane this year for the Yankees. And to think they may not even have him next year, which is definitely a possibility.
I'd hate to see it.
Yep. Yeah, I know you'd be just crestfallen.
I'd hate for him to be in California and pay those high taxes. Oh, my God. It'd be awful. Ugh.
Nope. So I'm with Dom in terms of the full game over. He mentioned over 8. I like over 8, especially now that it's plus 100. I still think Walker's going to give up a couple tonight, maybe 3 or 4. And I certainly think the Mets can hit Montgomery. Montgomery is, I think, someone that, especially when you saw the Mets get their offense. I don't know what happened to the Mets offense the first 2 games against San Diego. They just weren't hitting. They were just shut down completely. And then they faced Musgrove, one of the best pitchers the Padres have. And all of a sudden they do well. In that game. So they came back to life a little bit. They definitely have cooled off quite a bit if you look back the last week or two, but I think they can do enough here. And you're talking about an 8 total with a game involving the Yankees, which to me looks very low. So over 8 plus under. Not my favorite look, but worth a bet to me.
I agree. I like the over 2. I'm taking the Mets here. And yes, Ron Crawford, by the way, spreadsheet on the Yankees. And Matty Ice also likes the Yankees as well. I think he said he was on his card, but obviously we know the taint play of the day is the Padres first 5. And speaking of the Padres first 5, let's move right on over to the Padres first 5 against the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers win yesterday. We said on this show the game capped all the way to the Tigers, and I actually said I'll be a better capper when I am able to take the Tigers money line here and not worry about Aiden Hutchinson, the first round pick of the fucking Detroit Lions, screwing me on the mound. But, we live and we learn and we move on. I don't think they win back-to-back games, truthfully. I kind of like Mike Clevenger. Well, I shouldn't say I kind of like Mike Clevenger. I love Mike Clevenger, but he's not been pitching great. I haven't bet on him in a while, so I tend to pass here. Minus half in the first 5 at a close to even money pricing. It was minus 115 when he put it out on the show. I don't hate that at all, obviously, but I had to pass here. I didn't want to ultimately move on this game.
Yeah, this one's a tough one. I like the over last night. I might actually look under potentially here. Garrett Hill at home. Yeah, Garrett Hill, I think, I don't want to say he's great, but he did pitch great his one start here at Comerica Park in Detroit. It was a really good start, 1 run, 6 innings against Cleveland. The other starts were not as good, but the White Sox start in particular was rough, but last start against Oakland, 3 runs, 5 hits, all on the road. All those games actually did stay under still because Detroit didn't really do much offensively. Clevenger's dominated Detroit. He did struggle back-to-back starts there earlier this month against Seattle and Colorado, but bounced back against Arizona in his last outing, 1 run in 6 innings. His road ERA is actually slightly better than his home ERA at 3.46. Again, Hill was terrific in his 1 home start, which went under. So I really would lean under here, first 5 in full game.
Wow, look at that. Ian Cameron looking towards an under here. I forgot, or I just realized I should write down the name of the pitchers that I'm going to try to fade in the second half due to those innings things. I'm trying to make a list of them. I only got Nestor, Strider, and
to Johnny's point, Johnny Guns, I wouldn't be in a rush to lay the price with San Diego either. I'm totally off the side, but I'm not laying $180 with them. No way.
Look at that. Johnny Guns, I like the comment too, and it's funny. I think you said this earlier today too, that the Padres have never won in Detroit, and it's very funny. That's just like classic, like West Coast California team can't play in the Midwest cold or whatever. So
yep.
That's very funny. Shout out to you, Johnny Guns. Thanks for watching as always, my man. Let's move on to this next game here, and it is in fact the Boston Red Sox versus the Cleveland Guardians here. So the Red Sox have been a curious case. They got smacked by the fucking Blue Jays up and down. It was embarrassing. They win yesterday. Alex Cora basically manages like a playoff game going inning and a 2/3 with Scribner. I can never say his name. It's John Sky. I can never fuck it. Whatever. It don't matter. But 2 innings with Garrett Whitlock too. It's just one of those things. I cannot get it. Scribner. The same thing with Schneider, the Blue Jays coach.
Schneider.
It's the,
Schreiber is his name.
Schreiber.
John Schreiber. That's his name.
The SCH names just put me in knots, apparently.
John Schneider, John Schreiber. There you go.
But Garrett Whitlock for 2 yesterday. They've got, I assume they have Tanner Houck today available. So that's another bullpen piece they've got. But Josh Winkowski coming off the COVID list doesn't really inspire much confidence. I do not hate the overlooks in this game. The 10 was just a little bit too high for me to take it. But I am going to continue fading the Red Sox here, truthfully. They win yesterday. I don't know if that's the win to turn around this just shit that they've gone through the last, 2 weeks or so since the All-Star break and before, I guess. I'm going to pull up RotoWire actually real quick to see if we have official lineups here, because boy, is the Red Sox offense looks shitty this last couple of days.
Yeah.
And I assume, and it is in fact, JD Martinez making his return today, but we still have Rob Restnider and Chalen Davis and Bobby Dahlback all playing, as well as Yolmer Sanchez. So that's the stuff that makes me scared to bet the under. I understand the Red Sox have been better against lefties this year, and I know Brian Shaw's a righty, but they're going to bring in Kirk McCarthy allegedly after. So we'll see there, but I just don't think that Red Sox team that was good against lefties is the same squad. They've got half the team is full of slapdick, who knows, quadruple A players. I keep saying Yolmer Sanchez when I'm saying this, but he just the first name that comes to mind. His name's Yolmer. So no thanks. I took the Guardians team total over 4.5 here at -115. I think it was. Let me double check. It was at -110 actually. I bet that earlier this morning on Bet with the Bag. That was my say hey play of the day on there, and I'll give it out officially here as well.
Yeah, I like Cleveland first 5 full game split. Same 2 bets as I took yesterday, and they obviously finally Boston got a win. But yeah, it's been fade city with the Red Sox since the All-Star break, and really I should have been fading them before the All-Star break, but really only caught on. And I knew they were facing Toronto, and I said they're probably going to have a tough time, especially with battling some key injuries in the lineup. They still aren't going to have Rafael Devers tonight in the lineup, the Red Sox, so that's a problem for them. And then on the other side, Kirk McCarty is going to be the primary pitcher for the most part. Obviously, the game's going to be started tonight by Brian Shaw. You're going to get a lot of Kirk McCarty. His numbers are ugly. That's the one thing that would worry me a little bit about the Cleveland first 5 full game, which maybe your team total might be a better look because then you take the Cleveland pitching out of it. But I definitely think Cleveland's going to hit Winkowski a little bit. His numbers 5.5 ERA at Fenway Park this year, which isn't very good. Cleveland, again, I was shocked that they only got held to 1 run last night in that game against Boston, but I think bounce back spot, and I'll dare Boston to win 2 in a row, before I say, yeah, maybe we'll pump the brakes on the fade Boston train.
Exactly.
Keep in mind,
how
though,
I feel.
If Boston wins tonight, as bad as things have gone, keep in mind that, yeah, it was a brutal run for them, but the strength of schedule, which we don't talk about enough in baseball, it was terrible. I mean, you had the Yankees, you had the Rays, you had the Blue Jays. I mean, that is a difficult trifecta to have to play. And that is when all the losing happened for Boston. So sure enough, they play Cleveland now Monday and they win. So not that Cleveland's garbage. Cleveland's a solid team, but they ain't Tampa. They ain't the Yankees. They ain't the Blue Jays. And Boston maybe took advantage of that. We'll see. Was it strength of schedule related or Boston you suck related? I think we'll find out more of a determination of that tonight. But I'm going to go one more time for Cleveland here, first 5 full game.
Well, I'll say this. Operation Fade the Red Sox might evolve into Operation Fade the Red Sox against AL East teams. And you say that brutal stretch is going to happen a bunch more times. I don't know exactly how many more times, but those are your fucking division mates. So it's going to be tough to avoid those teams. Yeah, it might truly be just fade the Red Sox against every AL East team because the AL East is just truly that good that the Red Sox, though they can beat other teams, decently, they can come and win series. It just seems like the AL East.
I'd lean over in this game, but 10, that seemed pretty high.
I agree with you there as well. My last little comment here is that I've been saying it. I think the Red Sox are going to be sellers here. Deadline. I read the report today that said it was like, we'll see what happens after the Blue Jays, Guardians, and then Brewers series. All of those at home too. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'm going to be ending up in a puddle of tears on the 31st after JD Martinez potentially plays his last game at Fenway Park. And then I might be in a puddle of tears August 1st because I'll be watching the Red Sox versus the Astros live August 1st. So that'll be very interesting. And Coin, by the way, mentioning this shiv in my back. Boston 0-11-1 versus AL East teams in this series this year. Yeah, it's not good. Not good. Not good at all. Even the Orioles have just beaten the Red Sox too. Kansas City Royals versus the Los Angeles Angels here. Battle of two lefties that I truthfully do not love. Angel Zerpa does have a special place in my heart because he was one of the guys that got me the -300 win against the Blue Jays last time out. He pitched great. He even got a little call up to AAA after. He only pitched one inning in AAA, but maybe that was because they knew they were going to need him again here. Who knows? You know, those AAA, AA usage is just weird, so I try not to look too much into it. Jose Suarez is obviously not a lefty I want to back either. Every time I see him on the bump, I just expect bad things, and I don't have his full game log up on me, but the one good start that I can remember him having this year was against the Mariners, and that was like 20 minutes after the fight. So I can clearly say that the Mariners were not mentally into that game, and, you know, a bunch of them just got thrown out. And who wants to play a baseball game after you get into a big fight, I guess. I don't know. So I had to pass on this game. It's pretty weird seeing a -125 favorite for the Royals here. So I didn't want to take them at that price. So, yeah, just ultimately a pass.
Yeah, I mean, same here. How do you bet Suarez under? I can't. But how do you bet this Angels lineup over in a game? I can't. So that's tough from that standpoint. I do lean Kansas City for sure. I like the Zerpa pitched well. Remember, led the Royals to that big upset against the Toronto Blue Jays right before the All-Star break. So pitched pretty well in that game. Yeah, it's Royals are passed for me too, but come on, $1.20 with a pretty bad baseball team. It's not like that's great value. So it's a pretty clear pass for me.
Agreed there. And by the way, Saturated is right. That Chris Sale line drive was the end of the season. That's when I realized the Red Sox season was over, and it took me 24 hours to recover. And I literally had to go to the beach to do that. And Jack Jenkins is right also. Xander Bogaerts thankfully will not be traded, and it seems like the Red Sox are actually going to make a conceited effort to try to re-sign him instead of bullshitting him around. So that is at least two signs of good knowledge there for me. But Nathan Eovaldi, JD Martinez, Michael Wacha, Matt Strahm, potentially Rich Hill, all gone, I assume. Next game on our slate, Twins, Brewers. Ethan Small making another shot here at the majors. So we know him as the 2019 first-round pick. Shitload of walks in the minor leagues. I'll just keep it at that. Control issues, to say the very least. Against our guy, Dylan Bundy. And everyone knows we love Dylan Bundy around these parts. He's got many faces, some prettier than others. We can fully admit that. But Dylan Bundy has been pretty serviceable to us recently. I bet him in a couple of occasions. He's won for me. You just kind of got to pick your spots here. And it seems like this might be one of the spots, but I truthfully am not going to bet it. I think the Brewers are good enough to get to Bundy here. I think this is a pretty interesting matchup, truthfully, because this is a battle of two first-place squads as well. So I guess I had to lean towards Bundy, but I don't know what we're going to get from Small here. I tend to want to back younger pitchers as well coming up, especially like Jimmy says. They get a taste of the majors a little bit, and then he gets sent down. I find that an interesting spot here. So I passed here just because there's too many conflicting factors, truthfully.
Well, Twins are crushing lefties lately, and Bundy's got horrible road ERA, so that puts me on the over here with the Brewers and the Twins tonight. Over 9, -115. I think we'll get there. I mean, he's got a 6 ERA on the road. The Brewers get shut out last night. It's a good enough offensive team where after getting shut out and held down, I think they'll probably be better I like usually backing teams, especially decent teams, off a shutout loss. Offensively, I think you'll see the Brewers do better tonight. Again, the Bundy's got a serious home road split thing going on this year, and he's been great in Minnesota. He's struggled on the road a little bit. On the flip side, Ethan Small, we only have that one start that he had against the Cubs back on May 30th, 2 runs, 4 hits, 2.2 innings. Yeah, maybe he figured some shit out down in the minors, but I got to see it before I believe it here at the major league level. And like I said, Twins are hitting lefties pretty good the last 10 games. So that puts me toward over the total.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's a tough game to pick a side. Why not just take the over here? Why not take the over? I truthfully think, I've obviously been capping now a little over a half a season publicly. And I think one of the biggest factors for me when deciding if I trust a pitcher or not are those home road splits. They tell a story. They tell a big story. And at first, I used them when they were a smaller sample size, and I still thought they were beneficial. And now we've got a big enough sample size that they really do tell a story about a pitcher's season. And just like Aaron Nola, he's a great pitcher, and at plus money, I'm sure it's very appealing for a lot of people, especially a lot of people in Philadelphia. But just don't want to back him there. Just want to back him. So that's a good note there, Ian. So shout out to you for that note. Let's move on to Colorado and Chicago here. And for this one, we have another weather report. We have more weather reports. I appreciate all our reporters out there. Boots on the ground reporting is what we need to make ourselves better cappers. And for this one, how about a little debut? Hit it, Craig.
Craig Wood here with the Denver, Colorado weather report. Tonight, it's supposed to be scattered storms, 50% chance of rain at first pitch. It's Colorado. The storms don't typically last for very long. They kind of blow in and go out towards the eastern plains. A lot of sharps are on the over in this game. I could not disagree with the pitching matchup. Storms should be off and on, maybe clearing out by 9 o'clock. It'd be a late one if you're betting it. But the temperature should stay warm, so it should be a favorable night if the rain stays away. Good luck.
Hey, thank you, Craig Wood.
There we go. Expert weather.
Yes, we need our boots on the ground reporters from everywhere and everyone. So appreciate you guys as always. Thank you, Craig Wood, making your debut on Say Hey Plays, my man. It's Saturated asking a good question. Is he flying a plane? No, I think he was just in his car, but I would trust Craig Wood to fly a plane. I would trust him. I trust him with my life. So thank you, Craig Wood. Appreciate it as always. And like I say, if you guys want to send in your weather reports today, just email your video, my last name dot my first name at gmail.com, and I'll probably play it. Just send it with me sometime. So yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate you, Craig Wood. Liking the over here, thinking a little showers, but the offense not being deterred here. A lot of money coming on the Rockies, a lot. And I think the first time in Coors Field for Michael Kopech is a big, big reason for that. And that has made them made him, I guess, just unbackable here. I don't want to back him here. And I fucking can't stand Germán Marquez. I say this every time he comes up. Every time I see Germán Marquez and Senzatella, it's just a fadeaway shot right there every time. So the over 11 does seem like a good look. I'm not going to bet it, but I'm not going to say I'm not going to bet it because I could easily, Bobano could wax poetically here about it, and I could easily be swayed. But I'm not going to bet it right now. So we'll see here. Bobano, it seems like you like it too, huh?
I would only look over, but I'm probably like you. I'm going to probably stay away. It is 11. And look, Marquez, 8 runs in the last 3 starts combined, 19 innings. It's not bad. He's been a little bit better. I know his home ERA still looks bad, but a couple of these home starts lately have been a little bit better. We'll see if he can keep it going here. Kopech does give up home runs. He's given up 6 in the last 4 starts. That is an absolute concern. Obviously, pitching at Coors Field, especially on a night that could be favorable for hitting. So I would actually lean Rockies slightly in this game. I would, like I say, over definitely makes sense, but it's 11. It's a pretty high number, so I'll probably leave it alone.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And we know if you watch the shows with the spin doc on, he talks about what the altitude does to high spin rate pitchers. Michael Kopech is one of those guys, and he throws a slider, a high spin pitch. So I agree wholeheartedly there. And saturated, it's probably with this comment taking the right approach here. It might be just to close your eyes and take Colorado team total and hope for the best there. So I do not hate that at all. I do not hate that Rockies look.
I don't even know if you have to close your eyes because we know that team historically hits better at Coors Field than they do on the road. So, they could very possibly hit that team total.
All right. Well, yeah, that would be my lean there, I guess. It'd be a Colorado team total in the over as well. Shout out to TJ Mizzy on the Orioles tonight, and he likes the Royals a bit as well. And Banana Boat Float, what happened to Kopech? He is probably another one of those dudes. I'll look up his pitch log here in a second, his season stats. He probably has not gone this deep in a season pitching as well, because we know he also, another guy that is a reliever. Yep, he's already hit his career high at 83 innings pitched so far. His previous season in 2021, he went 69 in the third. So it's tough, man. It's tough. I think that, these pitchers just really need to feel what it's like to go 150 plus innings. And till they do it, it's not something you can really replicate. So it's tough. And again, pitching in Coors for the first time in his career is not something that I want to fuck with either. So like that look there, Ian. Let's keep it moving as well. And shout out to Craig Wood for that lovely video. Appreciate it. Another addition to our Weather Women. Appreciate it as well, Craig. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's talk about the Houston Astros and the Oakland A's here today. And it seems like everyone and their moms are going to be on the Astros today because you can't lose back-to-back against the A's, right? The Astros are so good, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. Pavi, our guy, he told me again that he said, and I quote, everyone and extraterrestrials are on the Oakland A's or on the Astros. The line hasn't moved. So I guess it's a A spot here. I'm leaning that way. This is probably Frankie Montas's last start with the A's. So I wouldn't be surprised if, there's that emotional, I don't know, thrust to get him into one last good start. Wilson Contreras had his probably last home game for the Cubs today. He went 1-for-4, whatever. The Cubs win those. So it's just so interesting how those factors play into the game. So I had to pass here. I obviously like Luis Garcia a lot as well, and I didn't want to fade him. So pass here.
This is one where it's just, I'm seeing with the total here, 6.5 in a couple. It's so low, I have to consider the over, even with Oakland involved. And I was on the over last night. I posted it on Twitter with Houston, Oakland. It got there. Now, look, Odorizzi and Aller are bet against pitchers big time for me.
Aller is the dominator against the Astros, 2-0 against the Astros in the last two starts.
Yeah, he did struggle at the end, but for the most part, he pitched well. But still not a great pitcher. And we know Odorizzi can't be trusted, and we saw that last night. Now, these are better pitchers, Garcia and Montas, no question. But you're talking 6.5, and the Astros have been crushing the baseball coming out of the All-Star break and even going into the All-Star break as well. They were hitting the ball pretty well. But coming out of the break, 3.75, 3.85. I mean, they've been putting up numbers, and now you're talking about 6.5 with this number. And even Oakland, how about 15 runs for this A's team in the last two games? And they have scored 5+ in 4 of their last 5 games. So even this putrid, horrendous Oakland lineup, which has been one of the worst offenses in baseball all season, they've sprung to life a little bit here in the last few games since the All-Star break. So it just feels to me 6.5 with the way these two teams are in terms of offensive form right now seems too low, regardless of who's on the mound. So for that reason, I might have a small play on the 6.5 over.
Yeah, I said the same thing yesterday too, because I was kind of in the mindset of like minus 240 for Jake Odorizzi is crazy. Why would anyone ever bet that? And then at the same time, I was like, so they just are not expecting the A's to score on Jake Odorizzi. And I was leaning towards that over, and I didn't get there, unfortunately. But I kind of feel the same way today, too. If the A's are going to be in this game, this is going to be an over kind of game, I think. I think it'll be runs here. Mike M, by the way, giving us some little cash and bets breakdown there. 90%.
Now, there's no Altuve and there's no Brantley. We knew Brantley would be out again, but Altuve is going to be apparently rested tonight, according to Dusty Baker. So, let me just make sure that's confirmed here. No, is he in? No, I've got to confirm that he's in. So much for that. Yeah, Altuve, Pena, Alvarez, Bregman, Tucker, Yuli Gurriel, Aledmus Diaz, Jake Myers, and
They
Martin
got that
Maldonado.
loss yesterday. They knew he had to play.
Yep. No, he's in, apparently, leading off.
Yeah, so I'll lean towards that over. I don't know if I'm going to make that official. I have it written
Oh,
down.
at 6.5.
We'll
I think it's 7. I wouldn't, but at 6.5, 3-3 cashes your ticket. I think it's possible.
I think that 7 at plus money is appealing. At least I'm not paying some juice at plus 105. We'll look at it further, and like I said, like maybe the look might just be an Astros team total, and you can split the difference there. I saw Sam putting an Astros first 5 team total at 1.5. I don't hate that at all. But yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. I don't know what to say here about this game. All the money on the Astros and the A's and on the Astros and the A's line not moving or anything. It's weird. It's weird. So I'll move on and let's keep it rolling here. We had Tyler Gilbert scheduled yesterday. He goes today because I guess they just knew Merle Kelly was going to go out there and dominate. Rodon coming off I guess a rocky start against the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers, so obviously take that for what it's worth. But 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 7 Ks, 2 walks, 1 home run allowed there. 8th are the Giants against lefties this year. It was pretty surprising to say. I thought they would struggle this year. It does seem like that win total ticket is going to come through for us, the under. But I don't know. I just ultimately had to pass this game too. My man Nutflush Allen says frequently, like the first game after a Dodgers Giants series are typically you want to fade both of those teams. They both end up losing yesterday. I didn't see the final score of the Diamondbacks game, so actually I don't even remember if they ended up winning. I just saw Merle Kelly go out there and pitch a gem, so I assume they won. But I don't know how that will affect them on the second day, so I had to pass here. It's going to be tough, and it was a 7-0 beatdown. Damn. Got their ass kicked. So yeah, you kind of expect a response, but I will pass. I don't want to pay to see it, and I don't trust Rodon, quite frankly.
Arizona's hitting lefties well, and I get the sense Rodon is not going to be as good in the second half as he was in the first half, and maybe already starting to see a little sign of it. Tyler Gilbert actually 5.34 ERA overall, but at home, even in starting roles, he's been pretty solid for the most part. He's made a couple of starts here in Arizona this year, and he's given up just a run in 9 innings or 9.1 innings. So, he's pitched well here. I'd be tempted by Arizona at a plus price. I really would. That's probably the way I would go. I lean over as well, 8.5. I mean, San Francisco, you mentioned against lefties, they've been solid. Arizona's been really good against lefties lately. I do think Rodon is going to regress a little bit, so it does have me leaning over 8.5 here in this game. But I might look, too, at Arizona. At a first 5 full game split. I was on Arizona last night once Merrill Kelly was named the starter, going with him against Junis, and we got paid there with the Diamondbacks in that game. I think there's a little value on Arizona again tonight. I sure as hell wouldn't be laying it with San Francisco.
No, wholeheartedly agree. Don't want to lay it. Do not want to put my money in Carlos Rodon's hand at this price. Just ultimately just don't think it's worth it, truthfully. Let's talk Texas Rangers, Seattle Mariners next game, and we've got one more game after this. And you guys know what I've been saying about West Coast baseball these last couple of days. It's been where baseball has gone to die. Everyone knows there's that East Coast bias, and all these games on the West Coast have been snooze fest lately. Mariners, Rangers, kind of in that category. Obviously, this AL West matchup is at least semi-interesting because Rangers are they're not like trying to be a wild card playoff team, but they have aspirations of it, I guess. And the Mariners are in there fighting for it. George Kirby called up from AAA again. I was hoping it was going to be kind of like an Ethan Small situation where he was in AAA for a little bit. Took his lumps maybe in the majors, goes back down, dominates, kind of learns from all that, and comes back up and does well. But his only start in AAA, or his only one start in AAA while he was down there, 2 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 Ks, 1 walk. Does not inspire confidence. Dane Dunning's coming off an IL stint with an ankle. That doesn't make me feel better. I guess I have to take plus money with Dane Dunning. But I saw a stat on the chat earlier today. It was like 10-0 or 0-10, are the Rangers in his starts this year. So I just didn't want to put my money anywhere near this game. It's just the West Coast is just a black hole of baseball right now.
Yeah, this one, I like Seattle and the over parlayed in this game because I don't want to lay $1.50, $1.60 with the Mariners and Kirby. But we saw last night they beat Texas, and maybe they just ran into a red-hot Houston team. We thought, Seattle's going to fall apart now because they got swept by Houston. No, maybe it's just they played a really good Houston Astros team. Maybe that's part of it because they bounced back. They won last night. And I prefer Kirby over Dunning. I don't have much confidence or faith these days, to be quite honest, in Dane Dunning. 5.93 ERA his last 3 starts, 5.52 ERA on the road. How about 0-9? The Texas Rangers in Dunning's road starts this year. So he has not been, they just haven't won with him on the road at all. His last 2 starts have gone over. I think Kirby's good enough to hang in there. Kirby will give up a couple runs. That's what he does. But no, he has at least pitched a little bit better here in the month of July. So I don't love the price for Seattle. I don't even love the first 5 full game split necessarily. But what you can do at some books is you can do the same game money line total parlay. And I think that's probably worth a look here, where I think the game will also go over the total. That's what I'd be looking at here. You can do Seattle and the over and get probably a little bit of a plus price with that. So that's what I'm definitely going to be looking toward in this game. You would be able to, by the way, it looks like plus 190 with Seattle parlayed with over in that game. Seattle money line over 8 plus 190. I think that's good value. I like that parlay. I don't do many side total parlays same game, but I think that's good value here.
Well, Bobano, I'll say this. The last 3 days in a row, we've had not an official parlay of the show, but we've had given out parlays unofficially. I don't think either one has won. With Doc yesterday, it was Adam Oller over 4.5 hits, and that was the one that screwed it. He had 4 hits exactly given up, so that was a heartbreaker there with Plezak's strikeouts. And I forgot which one lost in the Cab show. But there you go. There's your little parlay of the show there, a little same-game parlay action. You said it was Mariners money line and the over?
Yep, Mariners money line over 8, and you can get it plus 210, says Sam at Pinnacle. So that means I haven't locked it in yet. I'm just looking at doing that probably after the show. But, yeah, that means I'll be betting it at Pinnacle because, again, shop around, get the best of it.
Yes. Definitely do that. And by the way, thank you, Jake Burns, for this comment. A little throwback Thursday. Crazy seeing the Say Hey plays counter at 108. I remember asking when it was at 12 if that was how many plays Jose had. So shout out to you, Jake Burns. That was a popular question when the show first started. That was a popular question. And I definitely think a show with 108 plays would be interesting. Last game on the slate. A game that's close to my heart, obviously. We pull out that first 5 full game victory yesterday with the Nationals. I don't even know what to say about it, truthfully. I just think Tony Gonsolin will be a second half fade. I don't know what we're going to get from Mitch White here today. Josiah Gray, we obviously know that backstory, traded from the Dodgers, blah, 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 blah. He pitches better on the road, so can they do it 2 games in a row? I mean, the Dodgers are truthfully, it's the Yankees at the 1 spot, my favorite team to fade against minus 300s, and then the Dodgers at a very close second. Just because, though the Yankees, it's more satisfying, truthfully, when they see Yankees do it, but they don't do it as often as it seems like the Dodgers do. It seems like the Dodgers always fall asleep for a game in the series, and we can take advantage of them. Will it happen in back-to-back starts? I'm not entirely sure. You guys know if this was a minus 300, I feel a lot more confident betting it, but I'm going to pass here. I would not hate, I'll look at the price right now. I would not hate a plus 1.5, I guess. It is at plus 110, so you still get plus money at least, but I don't know. I kind of want to take my run money and run from that last game, truthfully.
So this is Josiah Gray against a team he was once on, the LA Dodgers. Is this the revenge spot type of deal here with him tonight? You have to wonder. And the Dodgers sometimes when they have that one game where they're coming off, crushing the ball left and right, winning a bunch of games in a row, and then they have that one game where they get shut down. A lot of times it can lead to 2 or 3 games where the offense scuffles. That's what I've noticed with the Dodgers. And sometimes one game can turn into 3 or 4 or 5 where they're scuffling a bit. So I'm grabbing a small piece of Washington first 5. I don't know if I'd want them full game. Bullpen is wretched for Washington, but the first 5 here at over plus 200 with a guy that I think is going to be chomping at the bit to go out there and pitch a good game, Josiah Gray. And if you look at Josiah Gray's numbers, spectacular on the road. 2.14 ERA, 6-2 record for the Nationals in his 8 road starts. I think it's not the craziest thing in the world to consider here a north of plus 200 look here on the Washington Nationals in this, at least in the first 5 with Josiah Gray. And, Mitch White's done a decent job, 2.88 ERA on the road, pitched well in his last start against the Giants, shutout in 5 innings, did get crushed by St. Louis before that. I see this here as a game that I think could be pretty close. I'd probably lean a little bit to an under in the first 5 as well. But, I'm looking at a little bit at Washington here in this price range. Gray against his old team. Gray's got terrific road numbers, 6-2 on the road in his 8 starts of the Nats. I hope I'm not a day late dollar short because obviously Washington gets the big upset last night. But I think they're actually worth a look again here tonight.
It's very fascinating. I mean, I have to agree with you. I mean, that I agree with you there. I wanted to look at, because you had a good question in the chat, how does Josiah Gray pitch at Dodger Stadium? He has had 2 appearances there, 1 start, 8 innings and 6 earned run ball there. He pitched against them earlier this year and struggled, but that was at the Nationals Park. So yep. I'd have to agree with you guys. It seems like a national spot. I'm not going to move on them officially here, and I'll say this, and I'll be cursing myself if they're up in that game. But I definitely would lean first 5 Nationals there, a good plus money price. Mitch White, obviously, a guy who we all think is the most acceptable guy in that rotation, probably. I mean, makes a whole lot of sense. So,
yeah,
Nationals first 5. There, you know what? I'm going to write it down. I have to trust myself in, and I like the look. I'm actually going to join you. I'm going to join you on the Nationals first 5 look there. Let me double check the price as my Apple Pencil just died. So I cannot write it down literally. I'm going to look right now. What do you have, Ian? Let's see. A plus 160 for me for this game for the first 5. So that's what I'll be moving on officially. First 5 Nationals. Here we go.
All right. I like it. I think it's worth a look. Again, not best bet material, but worth a look.
Yeah, we are volume cappers here,
yes,
volume bettors.
Right. Yep.
And we take our shots. You got to take dog shots in the baseball season to be successful, and thankfully we have done that this year. We have done that in a quick succession. All right, so that completes this lovely card. A nice little hour and 13-minute show. It's been lovely. Ian, of course, thanks for coming on as always, like you do on Tuesday. It's great.
Always good.
And of course, that pool give you that refreshing, glisten. Your voice is bumping today. I think that pool is going to be the catalyst to a good day today here, Ian. So what are the official pool Bobano plays of the day here today for Say Hey?
Miami Cincy over, which just started a minute ago. Atlanta minus 115 against Philadelphia. Small piece of the over. I see 7s out there now in a couple books. So at 7, I'm going to take a small piece of the over there. Leaning Arizona. I probably will have a small piece of Arizona, at least first 5, if not full game. Small piece of the over 8.5 in that Giants game as well. Washington first 5 innings plus price against the Dodgers. Cleveland first 5 full game split. Houston, Oakland over 6.5. Seattle money line parlay with over 8 against Texas. Toronto minus a half, minus 140 first 5. Toronto minus 1.5 full game run line as well. Yankees, Mets over 8 plus 100. Minnesota, Milwaukee over 9 minus 115. And we lean over with the White Sox, but I think I'm going to leave that off.
And I think I'm going to have to do the same thing with a bunch of these overs, actually, Ian. I'm going to lean towards that Houston Oakland over 7 at plus money, but I'm going to eventually stay off of it. Sam Colmer just alerted us that the Astros Twitter account just tweeted out the lineups here. No Altuve.
Yeah, RotoWire's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, classic RotoWire there.
Yeah.
And then Yuli Gurriel also not in there either. So
correct. Yeah.
Pass game there for me, unfortunately. I'm going to pass on Atlanta, Philadelphia, since you just mentioned the number ticking down to a 7. I still have a 7.5 at plus money, but that just kind of gives me the worries, and I'll end up passing on that game. So only a 3 official plays here today on like I've been mentioning, a pretty tough card. Toronto -1.5, -120. Cleveland team total over 4.5 at -110. And the Mets team total over 3.5 at -120 for me. So small card, tough card, obviously, as we've been mentioning. But hey, we give you the plays. Obviously, like we said, we're volume cappers, even though that volume sometimes only 3. We'll still be here again tomorrow. So it'll be a fun show, of course. Ian, I appreciate it. When's the next time we're going to see you on the Pub Sports Radio area?
Friday, betting with the bag, as always, with Jimmy. We'll break down the MLB card, the CFL card. And after this Friday, I believe next Friday, we're going to have NFL preseason to start to talk about as well. Well, actually, we won't, because there's only the Hall of Fame game, and that's on a Thursday. But 2 weeks after this Friday's show, we're going to start having NFL preseason cards to break down. So I'm looking forward to that as someone who just pours over coaches' quotes and local beat writers and finds out how much time are the quarterbacks going to be in the game, what the rotations are going to be, how much time are the starters going to be out there, how much time are they going to give to the second, the third string group, position groups, all that stuff. And believe me, if you can find accurate, quality information from the coaches regarding any of that stuff, you're going to be able to make yourself some money betting NFL preseason football, because I've been able to in the past.
That is the most degenerate sentence that's ever been said on this program. So I appreciate that.
All right.
Well,
and that's about hundreds of degenerates in the sports betting space that would agree with me then that, you can profit from NFL preseason if you're getting good info and you're betting the info. You're not betting Jaguars Chargers in the preseason. I'm betting the Chargers here because we think they're going to be the better football team. No, that's not what you do in the preseason. You're betting the info. And if the info says the Chargers are sitting everybody, they don't give a shit about winning the game, and the Jaguars are playing their starters longer and they do want to win the game, then you bet the Jaguars. That's what it's about when it comes to preseason betting.
There you go. Beautiful. And by the way, I forgot to, in my recap, I forgot to even mention the Washington Nationals. I'm on them first 5 money line at +160 too. Forgot to mention that, so I apologize there. Abel actually mentioning that White pitched a no-hitter through 4 or 5 innings last time reminded me. So thank you, Abel. And that kind of worries me, but do it again. We'll see. But yes, so NFL preseason gambling. Wow, that's a lot of fun. That's very funny. Ian, I'm sure you're pouring over NFL stuff right now. You're doing your research now. Is there any little appetizer, little like something that can wet the beak a little bit before football season to get the people going a little bit?
I think that if he can play even a lick this year for the New York Giants, I'm talking about Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, if he can just not screw up, all right, not turn over the football, rely on the better offense around you, better weapons, a healthy, hopefully Saquon Barkley, a much better offensive line, a much better coaching staff, and a much smarter coaching staff led by Brian Dable, who did great in Buffalo. If he can just not screw up, my bold prediction, we'll leave you with one, New York Giants win the NFC East.
Ooh,
win the NFC East.
Look at that. See,
Washington stinks. Dallas has tons of issues, in my opinion. And the Philadelphia Eagles, for all the talent and all the changes and all the improvements they've made, are getting far too much hype for my liking. And I've still got to see it from Jalen Hurts. So there you go.
I agree with you there. I need to see it from Jalen Hurts. Very exciting. A little Giants love. Maybe I'll put that in layaway and make a bet on the Giants. And it'd be a closet New York Giants fan as well as being a Jets fan too this season. It's very funny that I'm always amongst Giants, or I'm always amongst Dallas fans. So it's a very weird point of view I'm getting.
G-Men fans will notice the difference when you've had years of McAdoo and Pat Shurmur and Joe Judge. I mean, just these horrific bonehead coaches. And you go now to Brian Dable. Oh, you're going to notice the difference.
All right. Well, that's exciting. Thank you, Bobana, for your little bold take there. I love it. Little bold takes coming out of Say Hey plays on the last day. Let's say the last couple of days, weeks, I should say, before NFL preseason. Bobano, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back here again tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. Wednesday, today is Tuesday, so tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday is an exceedingly small card for the 5:30 boy. It seems like it's going to be like 2-3 games, if that. I think I have not double checked and looked again, but I'll probably be riding solo for a little quick Say Hey plays action. Maybe I'll bring on a new face on here and talk about baseball real quick. But it'll be an abbreviated one for sure. So thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Come back again for that short show. And then Thursday, like I've been mentioning, Thursday we'll be having a new special guest. Big UFC card this weekend. Who else are we going to get on this week? Then other than Clint McLean, Clint from Die Hard MMA podcast. He will be joining us on Thursday. So come and join us for then. Till then, guys, don't forget to say hey on social. Bouquett. Follow me there on @Jose Bouquett. Follow Bobano @Bobano. Until then, see you guys.